We are the Fluffies.
I'm Eric.
I'm Christian. This is the Fluffies channel. Welcome to your channel.
Yeah, if you haven't seen us before.
If you just met us, I guess you don't know that on this February 13th is going to be like a milestone, kind of.
Yeah.
Because exactly on February 13th, 2022, I died for 6 minutes. He's the one who keeps saying that. But I did die apparently. Making a story short, I was feeling a sore throat for a few days.
2 days.
Exactly a year ago. And then it was getting worse. My voice was sounding funny.
Yeah, it was a very hoarse sounding voice, and he had trouble breathing.
Yes. Then we decided,
Swallowing.
we called this health assistance thing. They told us to go to the hostel. We took Uber. By the time I got there, I was waiting for being called. What happened? He saw it, didn't know, I just heard.
So basically, we finally got into the emergency. They were going to look at him. He said, I have to go to the bathroom. Can you give me a few minutes? So I wheeled him into the bathroom. He stood up. I guess it was too much pressure or whatever somehow. And basically he collapsed. And they brought him into the emergency. They were doing all this stuff. And then for 6 minutes, from 5:21 a.m. to 5:26 a.m., he was technically dead. And luckily they brought him back with CPR.
Yes, technically it was the 14, not 13. Technically.
We got there on the 12th. It was the 13th.
Yeah?
Because it was your father's. Another milestone is on the February 13th, 2003, Christian's father passed away.
Yes, back in Brazil. So now this 13 is going to be 20 years that he passed. So it was a funny. So the 13 always been a funny day for me, especially you too. Same, especially about Valentine's Day because he died with a heart issue.
Yeah.
So Valentine's Day was always weird to me in the last 20 years. And now I have that happen. So basically I stayed 20 days, 10 days.
21 days in a coma, induced coma. And then he woke up and he spent 2 months at North York General and then 4 months at a rehab downtown.
Because the 20 days, because I was in bed, I forgot the name of that they call. I wasn't moving my legs because I was in bed, in coma. So I lost the movements of my legs. But every 10 days, 5 days, we stay without moving, you lose certain percentage of movement. So basically I was in the hospital for the 2 months just waiting. The first part recovery, and then I was waiting to a rehab, have an available bed for me to be transferred. So it was okay, I was just there waiting. It was so annoying being in the hospital for nothing technically. Yeah. And when I went to the other one, to rehab, it's supposed to be 6 weeks. The doctor said, no, actually going to stay longer because I want you to lower some numbers. I want to reduce pills, medication you take.
He did that.
He did. But it was 6 weeks and then became 4 months of that. Because it takes a while, the rehab is not as we expected. If I would be getting there, I would be doing things, lot of things. There was just, for a while, just nothing, and then just 2 minutes exercise, just doing this, and then increase, and then I start complaining that, maybe it's not too much, not enough. They add more. And when you move to rehab, let's talk about rehab, right? See, I'm confused. So it wasn't enough, even there, or just 15 minutes, 3 times a week. Wasn't enough, I think, rehab, and made things take longer. If there was longer weekends or anything longer, there would be nothing going on. It was it made things worse, I think. Because waiting in the hospital is horrible.
Oh yeah.
Even rehab. So rehab in this case is not rehab for drug things. It's about rehabilitation of health.
Yeah.
issues.
So a lot of people, when we say that he was in rehab, they thought he was either alcoholic or drugs. No, it's relearning how to walk.
People even thought it was COVID, so no COVID. And some people also thought, maybe you should watch your weight, watch your health.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with that.
So what happened apparently, what's the name?
He had...
See, he knows more than I do. I wasn't awake, anyways.
He had...
Epiglottis.
Yeah, epiglottitis.
Epiglottitis.
So the epiglottis is the little thingy that dangles in your throat. So apparently it got infected so badly that there was actually gangrene. So they had to do a tracheostomy.
I have a
little scar.
I have a souvenir
from
that. But ironically, I didn't see anything. All I did was dreaming, having weird dreams during the coma. I still remember many of the dreams. Sometimes seemed real, sometimes it wasn't real. And the good news is I didn't feel anything. I only find out things later when he told me. He started writing a daily update online. So
on Facebook, on Instagram.
Then I start reading later, and then I realized what happened. What I didn't know. So the good news is I wasn't suffering. I wasn't feeling anything.
No pain.
No, didn't even know what happened. Even this, I realized this later because I didn't see. Thank God.
Yeah.
But the recovery is kind of hard because staying in the hospital, in rehab, was this slow thing. It's like I've said, 15 minutes, 3 times a week, sometimes less. If there's something happened, they didn't have one session, it would be 2.
And then there was the 2 times that you were transferred to hospital.
Yeah, what happened was the day I left the hospital, when I arrived at the rehab, I found out I had got COVID in the hospital.
Yeah, there was a lovely neighbor in a room that he wasn't supposed to leave. He apparently left at 5 a.m., went into Christian's room and gave it to...
I guess it was him. We guess. But the problem is on a Saturday before that, I had a test that was negative, and before leaving the hospital, you're supposed to have a test. Once I arrived there the next day, on a Monday, I found out I had COVID. So the first 10 days in the rehab were annoying because I couldn't do anything.
And I couldn't come in.
No, it was tough.
Which was really tough because I would spend like 9-10 hours at the hospital, and we couldn't do anything. We had to FaceTime.
Yeah, and also the hospital rehab itself was hard because the nurses had to wear a yellow cap or gown and masks and so many protections. To bring food, only nurses could bring. So if they would serve food, they would stay outside of the room, getting cold. Besides, the food in the hospital is not good, anyways. That particularly, and then I had to call the nurses to say, "Look, my food's outside waiting."
Or what's worse is, if I wasn't there, I would call from home and tell them, "Look, he's been waiting."
So the first 10 days there were really slow. But what happened also, that started COVID, because I wasn't moving, I wasn't exercising enough.
Luckily, he was asymptomatic.
Yes, but then I got 2 blood clots.
Yeah, after the 10 days, he complained about some chest pains. I rushed him down. We were upstairs on the roof. I rushed him down to the floor, told the doctor that he's having some chest pains. Thought it might be heart attack or something, and it turned out it was blood clots. So
that's something I realized that the danger about COVID is not just what happens, but also blood clots. So we recommend if you had COVID, check it out, because that can be a killer. So I didn't have any symptomatic situation, but after I had that, which became annoying, because I had to go to another hospital for a few days, 3 days.
3 days he was rushed to another hospital. They took care of him.
I had to take blood thinners and had to do other tests because of that. I shoot on the blood thinner because of that.
Yeah.
I had to do heart tests months later because of that. So it's really a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So the 4 months there were hard because
And he was away for 6 months.
yeah, total. So it's like a wake up in another reality, like everything looks crazy, like oh my god, what happened to everything? And you try to recover, try to get back to normal, but it's not normal, and then you're in an environment that's not very easy.
To
But
say the least.
but the good news from that, we met so many people, especially patients, other patients, some we're friends until now. It was interesting. We learned a lot of things in that story.
Yeah.
About us, about myself, about dealing with others. In this experience, we lost some people we met during this process. It was a hospital, right?
Yeah.
So it happened. It was hard. And then in August, finally, end of August, we managed to
26.
to leave the rehab and go home. And then it was another challenge because going home after so long is really tough because I wasn't walking. I'm using a wheelchair, using walkers to relearn to walk. It takes a while.
Oh, yeah.
It takes so long. And going home, I had to adapt from the couch, bed, the bathroom.
Yeah, for example, the first day he came home, I got him to the couch, and then luckily we had a PSW coming that evening.
What is a
A PSW is a personal support worker who comes and helps with grooming and cleaning and other
They
stuff.
do many things, but it was the first time he got that through the government. But luckily he came because he couldn't me to get up. The sofa
Yeah,
was so
it
low.
was so low we couldn't get him up. So
My legs weren't strong enough for anything. So it was tough. So
Yeah.
it took a while at home to adapt to everything. So I was so looking forward to go home. Once I got home, it was a new challenge. And also, I guess because of happened to me, my taste buds got erased. So even to eat, I had to relearn the flavor of things. So
he did lose weight, which is good, and also he no longer takes insulin, which is also
Yes.
very good.
and weight loss medication. But the problem is the flavor of food changed. So many things I was so used to didn't taste the same. So I start losing appetite or interest in eating because simple things, even simple sandwich, the cheese tastes funny, everything tastes funny. Now it's way better. I would say 80%.
Good.
Not everything still tastes good for me. I heard that is about. I thought it was about the COVID situation, but it was before that.
Yeah.
So I had to relearn, make my body remember the flavor of things and everything. It was a challenge. So once the house finally became okay to be, so then things started to be okay.
Yeah.
And I will start physiotherapy in September, twice a day, a week, twice a day.
Twice a week.
45 minutes, so I had to go to this place for physiotherapists, and then after sometimes I do it online on Zoom because, things happen, can go, and things get better. So I'm still using a wheelchair, not much.
Yeah, not as often because he has the walker.
The walker, I'm stronger, my legs are stronger. So things are okay. Just we know that takes longer. It's so weird to think that it's going to be a year. We're so naive. Back in May, we thought it'd be just a few weeks. We'll be fine, walking like normal. Everything was fine, but it wasn't so easy as it seemed. But I guess it's life. Thank God I'm here. We're together. I always appreciate everything you did, everything you do, because it's tough. I keep saying that in the end, he went through a lot because he's the one who saw lived everything. From what I was in coma anyways. I wasn't seeing anything. For me, like nothing happened. But for him, he was the one seeing everything that was happening. So he experienced everything, experienced going home alone. It was really tough, I think, for him.
Yeah, well.
So I think he went through way more than I went through, technically, in most ways. But also so nice to see many people that support us, that help us, that came along when he was alone home. He came to him, offered to go out, to keep him company. Because at least in the hospital, in the rehab, I had people around me, the nurses all the time. So I wasn't alone there, but he was alone home without me, without anything.
Yeah,
So
for the first month or month and a half, I never turned on the TV. I felt TV was something we did every night, so I'm not going to watch our show because he's not here. So
yeah, it was a crazy journey, but yeah, here, and also some funny situations. Like people think that was because of my health, my weight, and I kept explaining, no, there's nothing to do. By the way, even the doctor said they have no idea why I had that thing.
yeah, and epiglottitis usually happens in children, so he's never seen it in an adult before. Actually, the second time we had to go to the hospital during the 4 months he was at the rehab, we actually met the daughter of one of his roommates, and she actually had epiglottitis as a child. So
As a child, and I was an adult, 50-year-old, having that. So there's no explanation why. That's the kind of sad part, because you don't know why, you don't know would happen again. Hope
yeah,
not.
so if we knew why, we could change things. Like
But there's no
reason.
What we learned that if something happens, if I feel my throat, pay attention
Don't
to
wait
it.
to get. Don't. If something happens, go right away.
Yeah, because later when I have the blood clots, same thing. Luckily, pay attention to the symptoms, and went to the hospital. Was transferred to the hospital because the rehab they don't have. All they do is treatments. They don't have the things as a hospital does. Like you can do the blood test there, for example. They can take a blood, send to a clinic, but it's not going to do there. There's no surgery, nothing in a rehab.
No.
And later, back in July, I had my twist in my leg, my foot, and then it rupture a vein, and then it started leaking inside my leg, and then because
They noticed with the blood, so
the blood thinner made the vein so thin, much thinner that it ruined my leg. I went to the hospital for
7 days.
7
no,
days.
8
days.
8 days.
It was annoying being there, but the food was better. That hospital was very interesting to
They
see.
actually had real plates.
Real
and
plates.
Real cutlery.
Yes,
Wasn't
I was like,
plastic
oh.
cutlery.
I was looking forward to the food. Oh, that's what we're gonna have today for food. Fruit, the rehab. Now, it's so cheap, so boring. I was something I don't miss. Yes, things I don't miss. I don't miss the food. I don't miss nurses coming every time. For 7:30 a.m. have nurses coming to the room for several. I was alone in the room,
Luckily, he was alone in the room.
but still 7:30. Nurse making noise outside. Something I learned is hospitals are not places for silence.
Oh no.
When you see things nurses doing this, forget about it. They make more noise than the patients.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They arrive, they shout loud. In the morning, people they change the garbage at the door. He throw the garbage thing on the floor. Take the plastic. There's no way you can sleep in the hospital in the morning. So at some point, I'm going to bed earlier because I knew at 7:30, and the nurse come in. Hello, good morning. I'm like, oh, jeez.
It was until you came, but
It doesn't matter the day. Sundays, they're there 7 a.m. trying to sleep. Hey, good morning. If the nurse was friendly,
yeah,
because some are not
they
very.
weren't.
Not every nurse is.
Most of them were excellent. There were a few who were like, no.
And some others like not at all. Like, oi. So it was crazy. So this is the thing we learned about no silence. Food is not good. Had to do things by yourself. So if you don't fight for what you want, if you don't keep an eye,
Very important.
if you just take whatever they want, it's not going to work. You have to question things, you have to ask, you have to investigate.
You have to demand, not ask.
Yeah, investigate, find information for yourself. You can just close your eyes, stay in a hospital or rehab thinking, oh, they're going to do everything for you. No, you have
No.
to do for yourself. And it's nice. I'm thankful for the. Oh, I think our Oh, had to go.
Before we go, we also want to tell you about another milestone. Today is the first time that we signed up at the Jewish Community Center,
There we are now. We're waiting for the bus.
which is here. And
guess.
so for the first time, Christian got into a pool. He stood, he walked.
We'll come every week here
show
now.
you a little video I took.
Yes, I'm gonna try to come every week because water is good, it's healthy.
Yes.
It's nice to see people. It's nice to come out. So let's go home. I'm hungry.
Okay.
So thanks for the support.
Yes, thank you so much.
Subscribe, like, everything.
Yeah.
And yes, and stay fluffy.